Hello, everyone. Welcome to our timeless oracle reading. Our oracle card for today belongs to the Into the Lonely Woods Oracle by Lucy Cavendish and illustrated by Dan May. The card for today is entitled The Return of Lost Selves. When we try to look at this card, we can see the creature in the midst of a forest, accompanied by an owl, while looking at a crystal. It makes me think of that moment of oneness with one's inner world through different means, different ways and means. It can be through divination. A crystal can be a symbol of divination, wherein the crystal becomes a vessel or an instrument for us to get in touch with our inner self, our inner part. One thing you discover, I know many of you are already on that journey towards that union with your inner world. One thing that you discover is that in moments of being alone, in moments of silence, even in just those short pauses in our daily life wherein we are just alone, when in the midst of activities we suddenly find a small oasis where we can just be silent and just be with ourselves. Oftentimes there are thoughts or memories of the past that presents themselves immediately to us. And we notice that they always come at those quiet moments, those short pauses. And oftentimes these past memories or past experiences have a similar effect on us, and that effect is oftentimes when they arise into our memory, they make us feel pain in our heart chakra region. They sometimes give us anxiety in the higher chakras also. These are those memories that we wish we had not done or wish we had not experienced. But we cannot deny that it is already part of our lives. Some people would refer to them as our shadows, those parts of our life that we are ashamed to admit to the whole exterior world, those parts in our life that sometimes those parts that we sometimes could be part of those mistakes we've made in the past. It can also be those experiences that we didn't choose to have but was imposed upon us by certain life situations where we felt helpless, and where we had somehow at that moment no choice but to endure. These are those things that we wish we had not experienced, and we push them into our subconscious mind. And so when we have those moments when we are given an opportunity or a window to be in touch with the inner world, sometimes these shadow parts of ourselves immediately rise up to the surface of our consciousness and presents themselves to us. And oftentimes our response is, I don't have time to handle this. And so what happens is you tend to push them back again to the subconscious mind. But they will always find a way to gain our attention or to get our attention. if they don't come in those quiet moments in our conscious time, they would sometimes present themselves in our dreams. And oftentimes their presence would give us great fear, as if that desire to run away. And we feel very helpless in the presence of these shadow parts of ourselves. But as we spend more time being alone with ourselves, we start to realize that if we are going to move forward in our journey, we sooner or later have to sit down with these shadow parts of ourselves and be reconciled with them. It's a painful process, but it's a process that we need in order for us to undergo reintegration of ourselves. Carl Jung would refer to this as the process of individuation, wherein part of that process of individuation is being reconciled with those shadow parts of ourself. I'd like to share with all of you a somewhat simple way of being reconciled with your shadow part, but simple as it may seem, it's not a quick process, because that process of acceptance takes some time. But the important thing is you take that first step towards this reconciliation to your inner self. My invitation is, when those moments comes, when one of your shadow selves would present themselves to you, the first step towards reconciliation with them is to accept them as part of our life. Sometimes the easiest way is to talk to them just by ourselves and to tell them, you are part of me, and I accept you as part of my life's history. The lessons you carry, I value, because I know that these lessons has taught me which are the things that I need to let go and which are the things that I need to accept. So the first step is towards accepting this shadow as part of ourselves, and that they carry lessons for us that we can take in moving forward. We need to accept that these shadow parts of ourselves have contributed to who we are right now. So the first step is to talk with the shadow self. In fact, if you can imagine yourself putting your arm over its shoulders or embracing it and saying, you are part of me, and although your experience with myself has been a painful one, I embrace you. I embrace you and I love you as a part of me that enriches me, that brings the color of who I am right now. And then my suggestion is to take the second step, and that is to ask, what lessons can you give to me that I can take with me as we move forward together? This will take some time, because you will need to listen. You will need to go back to that memory, painful as it may seem. But that is the second step, to ask it to teach us the lessons we can learn. The third step, which is, I feel, very crucial, is now that you have been reconciled with that inner part of yourself is to make a resolution while accepting some things that you cannot change. You tell yourself and your shadow self, I know we cannot change anymore the past, but we can learn from it, and now we take the lessons that we've learned and we resolve to move forward together. These are just 3 steps, but very vital steps. And how we can go forward through these 3 steps will take some time for some, will be much faster for others. But when the right moment comes, these 3 steps will all fall into place. There is a time for everything, and oftentimes when a shadow part of ourselves constantly present themselves to us, whether in our waking hours or in our dreams, maybe it's because the right moment has come for us to be reconciled with this shadow aspect of our life. Now, I'd like to invite all of you to join me in reading the handbook that accompanies this card, and maybe we can gain more insights regarding the return of the lost selves. When we are alone, we can be most true and real. We live without artifice or the need to please or be pleased. Finally free, we can simply be. Do not make of this liberty a burden. Call back to yourself the wandering parts of your mind and soul that departed when they knew others could not understand them. Come together, be reunited within yourself, and feel the multitude of you. You are not one self, but many selves. When you have this time of seeming aloneness, truly the companionship is of the many selves, the forgotten experiences, the things you never gave yourself time to wonder about. You will be unified by this spontaneous time alone. Well, I know it can be a painful step, or these could be painful steps, this 1, 2, and 3rd steps. But the journey, once we take that 1 step, will lead to setting ourselves free, will lead to a moment of growth, a moment of enlightenment also, and a moment of stepping further towards that growth and transformation that you are meant to receive. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for the likes and comments you've given to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. I hope to see you again soon. Until that time, may God continue to bless your ways.